Hey, everybody, welcome to episode number 20 of the Audible Farm podcast. This episode features Jared Harp of Americature, and this episode is also brought to you by New Revolt Promotions. New Revolt Promotions' goal is to help young artists find an audience and become established in the local community by putting them on stage and helping them connect with other artists. New Revolt's next show is February 24th at Rats Records in Des Moines, Iowa. It features 3 brand new local bands playing alongside the Astro Bastards. To find out more information on shows, visit the New Revolt Promotions Facebook page. It's listed below. And if you know somebody that's looking to get into playing local shows, go ahead and message that New Revolt Promotion Facebook page. Or you can send them an email, and I got that down at the bottom as well. That's kobemurray@gmail.com. You could send them like I said, you can send them that Facebook message, or you can send them that email. Either way will work great. I'm super happy to have New Revolt Promotions sponsoring a podcast. They do great work. I'm super excited to just be able to do something with somebody else that's in the community and get those new artists out there to play music. I mean, that's one of the things that when I first started playing music again, I didn't know where to go, who to hit up, and what to do. So like, this is call to arms. If you have a band and you're looking to maybe play a show down in the Des Moines area, just hit them up. You never know what'll happen, because they like to have brand new bands come down, play shows. They know a bunch of people. They'll get you in contact with the right people, get you to a place, and they'll book you a show. It'll be great. Thanks again to everybody for listening to this episode. I sit down with Jared Harp of Americature, and the two of us didn't actually know each other almost at all. We sent some messages back and forth via the internet, and I'd seen him live before. I saw him play with TV Cop, and I thought to myself, man, these guys are cool. I mean, I love me some TV Cop, but it's also good to you go to a show to see one band and the other band is literally just as awesome. So I was super stoked to actually get down to see these guys play live one time. I can't wait to actually do it again. Hopefully we can get like maybe a Three Finger Betty and Americature show booked in Fort Dodge sometime. Either way, we'll sit down and talk about a bunch of different stuff in the podcast, including social media and his band history, just tons and tons and tons of stuff. It's a great hour. I hope everybody digs it as much as I did. I'm pretty sure I made a new friend through all this podcast stuff, so it's awesome getting to meet new people, and I'm really happy that people are entertaining the idea of doing an interview with me for a podcast. Even if they don't know, there's some people I've talked to that didn't even know I had a podcast, and I'm just grateful that everybody's listening and taking to it as well as they have. So thank you, everybody. This is episode number 20 with Jared Harp of Americature.
It's the Audible Farm podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
Sitting down today with Jared Harp of Americature. I mean, you're a punk band? That's what you would call yourselves? I mean, I saw you...
To sum it up in one word, I guess you would call it punk.
Yeah.
You know how it is. It ends up being like, yeah, not technically just punk, that's for sure.
Yeah, I feel like punk is one of those really encompassing names for a style, kind of like metal. It's like, we play metal, but I mean, there's so many different kinds of metal.
That's where you would start.
Yeah.
That's the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, so I saw you guys play once. It was a benefit show here in Fort Dodge, and I actually went to go see TV Cop, but I believe you guys actually bookended the show. You played first and last. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, one of my, so I was in a band in high school, which was called ADHD. so that band played like first, and then later on played again, and Americature also played.
Yeah, man. I saw you guys play. I was there. I mean, it's one of those happy coincidences where you kind of run into people playing music that you're like, dude, I dig this, and I didn't even come to see this originally. And that's probably one of my favorite parts about going out and watching shows and stuff like that, is you always run into somebody you're like, hey, I dig these guys' stuff. So, I mean, it's sheer coincidence that you and I sort of met. I mean, I kind of messaged you through Facebook and through your guys' band Facebook page, which I will share in the description section for sure.
Cool.
But what got you started playing music? Like, how long you been playing? What's the dealio, man?
Oh, golly. I don't know. It's been a long time. I started playing guitar when I was 12. and right now I'm 29. I've been writing lyrics as long as I can like remember. It's probably been since like first grade.
Yeah.
And I don't know. One day it's like, you see it. Back in the day, a live band used to be much more of a big deal than it is now.
Oh yeah, totally.
To go out and see someone live and just the live like attack when you're seeing it and feeling it and you see them kind of glow like that on stage.
Exactly.
At a young age, it kind of brings something out where you're like, you can express yourself that way.
Exactly. I do totally feel you there. Like I hear some people say that like, oh, back in the day it was so much cooler to go to live music, and I hearken a lot of that to just being, well, you were probably younger, so you probably
nostalgia.
Yeah, it's a little bit of nostalgia, but also like when you're kind of a young kid, you're a little bit impressionable. I mean, so you go see these guys ripping up music that you're just like, oh man, you're just discovering music for the first time probably too, and it's like these guys either sound like a band you like or it sounds like something you never heard of, and you're just like, this is totally cool. So you end up kind of finding your own way with music, and I don't know, that's what gives it that real personal feel, I feel like.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I'm not sure if it helps you, connect a little bit, with whatever's going on, or it's like you see that and it kind of helps you realize what that is.
Yeah, man. So you play guitar.
Yeah.
Is that where you started out on, was a guitar?
Yeah.
You play anything else?
I played the bass cello in middle school.
No way.
Don't know nothing about it now. I could play it if I had one, but
Yeah.
I don't know anything about actual notes anymore. I mean, I know it, like the ABCs
Yeah.
of music, kind of.
Yep.
And like if someone tells me what key, I can find it.
Mhm.
But for the most part, like I just play totally by ear.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, man. Is that how you learned, was just playing by ear?
Yeah.
So
yeah. So like what happened is, I seen my older brother playing guitar.
Yeah.
And this was like when, in the late 90s where like Hellbelly Deluxe comes out, like
Yep.
Rob Zombie,
Yep,
and
yep.
like just rock was at this weird state,
Uh-huh.
People were all playing guitar.
Yep.
So it was like, cool, I want to play guitar.
Uh-huh.
Played a little bit of bass.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, somewhat of a long story short, my brother showed me a little bit. I got a hand-me-down Squire.
Nice.
And, figured it out with my ears a little bit. And really, I started to learn tab first.
Yep.
And at that, long story short, when I was younger, when I was 12, I started actually trying to play guitar.
Yeah.
And at that point, my dad was actually locked up,
Uh-huh.
and for a while.
Yeah.
And so he kind of had sent me letters in magazines
Mm-hmm.
on kind of how to read guitar tab
Oh, that's cool.
and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's basically how I learned. You start to learn a few things on tab, and it was like all I did was learn Metallica for the first month or two.
Yeah.
And
yep,
once you start to get good at that, you think you're so fucking cool.
Yep. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah. I
And-
did the Megadeth route, but I took the exact same thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
Man.
So it was just like learn all parts of little bits of songs, and you learn how other people write it. You just feel it.
Yeah.
Feel it out.
Yeah, man. That was like one of the things before because I played guitar from like, I don't know, like 16 to like 20 something ish, and I kind of quit for like 5 or 6 years, and I just recently started playing again and really trying to figure it out, actually figure out what I'm doing instead of just reading tabs and playing what somebody tells me to. So, like I started out with a lot of punk music, and I kind of like ended up going to like Megadeth and stuff like that, but like maybe Megadeth's a pretty good example because a lot of it feels, you can totally see like where his song structure comes in. It's just like, oh, this is just mostly like pentatonic jamming or like minor jamming, and it's like a lot of it's an E or B or
Right.
you find out what people like to use and how they decide to use
It's
it.
kind of like more simple hard rock.
Exactly.
It's like the kind of like if you play hard rock, these are like the root notes
Yeah.
of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I totally dig it. A buddy of mine's been recently messaging me about like trying to get better at playing metal music, and it's just one of those things where it's like just dig out some tabs and try and like copy what other people are doing.
Go back over
and
some...
figure out where they're coming from, and sometimes it gives you like a refresher course to kind of figure out where you want to go with it.
Yeah.
And I'm not super good at like doing the whole like, oh, I read all these tabs, I can tell you all the notes he hit and like where he key changed and where he switched from one mode to the next. Like I don't know all that stuff, but like you could still kind of feel out where people are going with stuff. And I mean, is there a style you prefer to play? Because I mean, I saw you play punk music.
What's happened is at some point I tried, and it was a whole group of us, you know, we were trying very hard to play some hard rock or some metal.
Yeah.
Like we were trying very hard, okay?
Uh-huh.
So like when you grow up in the 90s and, you know, I'm 10 o'clock, you know, or 10 years old, sorry,
Yep.
when I'm, you know, Slipknot comes out with fucking their self-titled and shit, and
Yep.
everyone's like
Yep.
shitting about it.
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
That's
like,
that's the one.
and it's like, dude, you know, I don't know, it kind of morphed into like, let's do metal, and you
Yep.
know, because that's what I was good at. Well,
Uh-huh.
we all got together, figured out that we couldn't fucking play metal because,
Yeah.
you know, we're kids. I mean,
Yeah.
we're like 12, 13 years old and shit.
Uh-huh.
And what happened? As sad as it may be to say, I'm just going to be honest with you. It's like around the time Blink-182 released their debut album,
Yep.
or their self-titled album.
Yep.
And the time that fucking Green Day released American Idiot.
Yep.
It wasn't because of those two albums, but it was because of like the pop punk upbringing that started.
Yep.
Where like, you know, I've always really liked Green Day.
Uh-huh.
When I was younger, I was into them, and this is like the mid 90s, you know.
Uh-huh.
This is Dookie, Insomniac, and Nimrod.
Yep.
And it's like, you know, that's a whole different time.
Yep.
And you know, I felt like anyway, that's a totally different subject, but you come up to this time and it's like, you know, you start to relate.
Mm-hmm.
What made me want to write punk rock is Blink-182's album Dude Ranch.
Yeah. That's a good one, man.
And it was just like, because they stuck with the fast beat the whole time.
Uh-huh.
It was stupid. It was simple enough, like
Yeah.
you're young and you can play it.
Exactly.
And that's what we started with. We played like 13 cover songs. Our first show is ADHD.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, everything from like Weezer, Nirvana, Green Day. We played Boys in the Hood from Dynamite Hack.
That's hilarious.
You know,
when I was growing up, we had like a little band in high school, and it was we called it Active Input, but we played a lot of like punk covers too, and we went more like the Sum 41 Newfound Glory route. So we, you know, I feel like there's like kind of phases of music that people choose or like areas, but like
all those bands were really all in one area
Yeah.
when that, like in that area with American Idiot and
Yep.
fucking the Blink-182 stuff. Sum 41 was pretty damn big, and
Yeah.
so was.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, we would choose like older Sum 41 songs and some newer songs. Like I remember we played Chuck a couple times, and
Right,
but
the good stuff.
yeah, but we'd stick to like, you know, Fat Lip and the Hell song and things like that. We played Machine Gun a handful of times from like one of their older albums, you know, and I think that's on Half Hour of Power. I might be incorrect, whatever, but it's either way. But it's kind of fun to see that like somebody else enjoys pop punk as much as I do, because I mean, I feel like it's a niche market, and you almost don't want to go out and tell people like, this is one of my favorite kinds of music, and people are like, dude, just chill out.
Yeah,
you know?
super lame.
Yeah.
When you're alone, it's so cool.
Yeah, dude.
Once everyone starts making fun of you, it's like, whatever then.
Yeah, no kidding.
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to go play my music now.
yeah, I'm probably not going to cruise around in my Toyota Avalon blaring it out the windows or anything.
Right,
but,
right.
You know, like,
I was literally just listening to Boxcar Racer.
sweet. Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's
Like, I got it in my CD player in my truck right now.
that's awesome.
Straight up. I don't like keep it in there, but I was like, I seen it in my closet. I'm like, you know, hell, I'm going to listen to
Yeah.
this.
Pull it out, throw it in.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's literally sitting next to a CD of Biggie Life After Death. Like straight up, you know. So it's
Yeah.
like I listen to all kinds of shit.
Yeah, dude. I mean, as far as like rap goes, I mean, I'm not a very big rap person,
No,
and
me neither.
I probably don't even have enough knowledge on the topic. to
That
even
is
have
the
much of
only
an
rap
opinion.
album I own,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, I
But
feel-
I do like it.
yeah, and it sucks to say that. Like, I feel like some of the best rap is probably some of the rap that most people know the best. You know, like you got your Dr. Dre or like your Eminem and your NWA, and I mean, Bone Thugs and Harmony. I mean, you just throw out like handfuls and handfuls of bands, and it's just like, yeah, I mean, these are the best ones. You go like all the way back to be like,
What I got into was I love Rage Against the Machine
yeah, dude.
and stuff like there's not a lot like that, but I guess stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of rappy and kind of rocky all at the same time. There's a handful of bands that have tried to mesh the two, and it usually comes out pretty unique for each band because they try to pick like the best part of whatever they're gonna do. One of my favorite rap metal bands back in the day was Stuck Mojo, and not too many people know who they are.
I don't know who it is.
But they were like really heavy in the rap portion, and it was kind of like Southern rock, and it was all down-tuned. But that was always one of my favorites as far as rap goes. But so you had ADHD, and then how do you transfer from that? Like, how long is that removed from when you started doing the Americature stuff?
Like 10 years.
All right, so let's fill in some gaps.
Yeah.
What do you got? What do you got going on in those 10 years?
Oh my. So ADHD, right? Anyway, I'm gonna have to dig deep here to really think about this, but I can tell you that when I was in high school, I went to Germany for 2 weeks with the school, and while I was there, basically we disbanded.
Oh, okay.
And I got a hold of a couple other dudes and, started another band.
Yep.
I think that first one we called Dead from the Neck Up. and,
That's actually a pretty good name, though.
Yeah, it was all right. And I don't know, there was like a handful. So when I was in Germany, I actually decided for some reason, I'm sitting here with this kid's a little shitty acoustic guitar. I'm like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do this. And I go ahead and tuned it to D. And that was when I started playing in D.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. I started off in, standard tuning, and I just said I'm going to go to D, and it is what it is. Started writing that because it's like I feel like writing something different. ADHD had like 20 songs.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know what I mean? All originals and stuff. Like
Sweet.
We got a CD and all that, and it's like, which is a whole story in itself. There was this place called Caffeine Rush Entertainment in Fort Dodge.
Yeah.
A little beautiful recording studio.
Uh-huh.
If you can't sense the sarcasm. It was a great place, and we had a lot of fun. We recorded. It was a good deal. After the fact, though, there was a long period of switching band members and changing band names, playing random shows. We played at the skate shop, RCS, in Fort Dodge when it was around.
Yeah. I guess I didn't know there was a skate shop here in town.
There was, and there was a half pipe in the back of it and stuff at this one point.
No way.
You probably don't know who, I can't remember all the people involved with it, but one of them's name was Jim Griffel.
No, I'm not.
He was
with
super into the skate stuff back in the day, and they used to have skate demos in Fort Dodge and all kinds of shit like that.
Oh, that's cool, man.
But we played there. There's not a lot of venues in Fort Dodge. I played at the Second Floor Eagles Club a handful, 10 handfuls of times. You know.
Yep.
I mean, there's a few places to play, and recently it's much different, and for a long time there wasn't a lot of music in Fort Dodge.
Yeah, that's true, man. I feel like recently it's exploded.
Yeah.
Like it's off the chain.
Well, the bars have started to accept live music.
Yeah, because they've realized people will show up and enjoy it.
And honestly, the guys that are doing it play some pretty common stuff, like some stuff that you can listen to in a bar.
Oh yeah, totally.
And they do it well.
Yeah. I mean, as far as even if you want to do originals or covers, I mean, there's tons of awesome cover bands out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm consistently wowed by how good some of those cover bands are out there. And as far as original bands, it's crazy how much, even for Three Finger Betty, we just show up to some random place and play, and how people are just like, dude, this is awesome, because they don't get to have too much original music show up there.
Yeah.
So they're always super thankful to have some.
Yeah, it's weird. Original music is a touchy subject sometimes. Sometimes if they got you turned up too loud, people will walk off. Just because of how loud it is.
Oh, totally.
General.
Yeah.
You got to be presentable about it almost.
Yep.
To I don't know, to not scare them off a little
I totally get you, man. I mean,
they're like, I just came here to have a drink, and these dudes are screaming at me.
Yeah.
And you're like, well.
Yeah, the volume thing's always something that, I'm in Three Finger Betty, and we used to have a setup with multiple cabinets, and it just was tough to not be loud with multiple cabinets. So I ended up, I don't know, a lot of us agreed to kind of just downsize the setup a little bit, and it works a little bit better.
There's a middle ground too, man. Recently we played a show in Hiawatha, Iowa with a band called Father Mountain.
Yeah?
They're from Tennessee, Nashville.
Well, that's cool.
And had no clue what we were going to be up against. You know, like we show up and it's like, I'm glad I brought all my amps.
Yeah.
Because this is like a big metal building and this PA is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So if I would have brought my one little combo amp,
Yep. It wouldn't have been enough.
it wouldn't have been enough.
Yep.
You know. And I was like, that's why I bought it.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to haul so much shit.
Well,
I'm glad I brought it that time, I guess.
Yeah, no kidding. I do enjoy using combo amps just for the simplicity. I really wish I didn't have to lug a 4x12 and a head around, but the sound that comes out of it is so awesome. It's hard to justify just bringing like one.
I use this Marshall code with this 4x4 down here, and like it's weird. I don't know what the deal is. I haven't totally got it down yet, but for the most part, the head powers the 4. But like, there's a setting you can have them like all going.
Oh, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I dig the combo amp on top of the 4x12 cabinet look a lot. Like, I've always wanted to do it. I have a setup that I can do it with, but it's just too much stuff to bring around. I do like the soundscape that it pulls out because you get the open back with the closed back sound, and you know.
I got this old school crate amp behind me. It's a 2x12.
Yeah.
This thing on extension speaker, it'll connect to another cab and it'll all power. Like it'll all turn on, right?
Yep.
If it is not hooked to an extension speaker, it won't even make noise.
What? So like
something's wrong with it.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
That's crazy. So the 2 speakers inside won't make noise unless you hook it up to an extension cabinet.
It has to be hooked up to an extension.
Then you get like 6 speakers.
Yeah, then they all go.
So it's 6 or nothing, all or nothing with that
all
bad
or
boy.
nothing.
That's what we're gonna nickname that one there, all or nothing.
There you go.
So you end up like doing the whole multi-band change. Tons of people come in and out. It happens a lot to a lot.
Goes
of bands.
on for years, probably 3 years or 4 years, and then I become in this band called the Bedspins.
The Bedspins.
Yes, I start playing with my buddy Jack on drums, who's a terrific drummer.
Yeah.
And then my buddy Toby starts playing on bass eventually. Okay. So at one point I wasn't playing with anybody.
Yep.
I'm working at FYE in the mall in Fort Dodge, the CD store.
Yep.
So this dude Mike.
Did you work with Eric Nelson there at all? I was talking to him.
No, I didn't. But here's another weird little objective thing to this whole story is that dude is like my second cousin.
No way.
It's my mom's cousin's son, or my mom. Like, he's literally related to me.
That's crazy.
I don't even know how.
Yeah, I did a podcast with him not too long ago.
Yeah.
He's a fun guy, man.
I don't even know how. So like ADHD played with Hold for Swank years ago.
That's awesome.
Years ago in Fort
man.
Dodge, dude.
That's
years
cool.
ago.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. And then like it's been a crazy time here in the middle of Iowa with all this music. You know, just time goes by and all the things that happen. So Mike Lowe comes into FYE and he says that Brutal Republic needs a drummer.
Yep.
I start playing drums for Brutal Republic.
Oh, cool, man.
I play for him for maybe a month. I suck. We play one show, and it's with like Pinwheel and like someone else.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And so after the show, actually at that show, I talked to my buddy Toby about playing bass for the Bedspins because I was like trying to get it going. And shortly thereafter, they kicked me out. You know, nothing bad or anything. It was just like, hey, you know, not working, whatever.
Yep.
So, plus, you know, whatever. I was moving to get my own band going and stuff. We called it the Bedspins. Played, you know, a good set. Played Fort Dodge, and I played like Sioux City, some other places I'd have to think about to remember.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good band. I mean, we made a good CD. There was a place downtown Fort Dodge where we used to sell used appliances. And this was in the alley behind Spanky's, which was the second floor Eagles Club.
Yep.
We were in the building just across the street.
Mm-hmm.
There was a garage door. We hit the code and we can go in. It's our place.
Yep.
And you go down this ramp, a car ramp, a wooden thing, into the basement.
Yeah.
And down there, I had a stage built with pallets and everything, fucking lights, dude. That's where we practiced, you know.
Super cool.
Totally, yeah, man. Had some parties down there, and it was just totally nuts.
That's
like,
super
you know,
cool.
I had my buddies skating and shit. They'd like go off the ledge down the car ramp. People were fucking throwing up like on the floor. There was puke outside the door. I mean, it was a party. You know, it was a fun ass time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so there was that. the bed spins. We kind of disbanded. It was just one of those things. It was just time.
Mm-hmm.
We were all going different paths. One of my buddies has had a little bit of problems with like addiction and stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't all that. I'm not sure if that was totally worth mentioning or not.
Yeah, we could take that out.
But if it needs to be, he wouldn't mind talking about it. You know, it's just that at that point it wasn't as big of an issue.
Yeah.
So it's not like that was totally it.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of issues going on. He ended up moving. My buddy Jack, who plays drums now.
Yep.
He moved to like all around to Carolina and then Las Vegas, and now he's back here and he's playing drums again.
Sweet. That's cool, man.
So that's who was in my band with that, and. There was some years that went by there. I played by myself, played my own music, recorded my own shit.
Yep.
Just to survive,
Yep.
To create my music,
Yep.
and it's
Just
like, eventually it got to the point, you're looking on Craigslist, like, what the fuck happened? I have no one to play music with
exactly,
right now.
yeah.
And this was like, by now it's been maybe 4 years or 5 years, I don't know. I got with this kid, and I'm not playing with anyone at this point. I got with this kid who lives in Ames, Iowa, and his name was Josh.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like a totally kind of insane experience all on its own. He plays at that point played punk rock.
Yeah.
What he called punk rock, and it's punk rock, just straightforward, like 3-4 chord songs.
Yep.
So anyway, initially I played in this band called Painkillers with him and these people. And eventually his drummer quit, and he asked me if I would play with this other band.
Yeah.
And at that point, Jack had moved back and he was in Des Moines.
Okay.
So I was driving from Fort Dodge to Des Moines to pick him up and then to Ames to practice.
Yeah.
And on more than one occasion, I had to drive him back to Des Moines and then drive to Fort Dodge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's once a week.
Oh, man. I kind of feel you. I live in Humboldt. My bands are in Des Moines, so I do the 2-hour jaunt. It's almost the exact same thing you guys.
That's a pain in the ass there.
It wears on a guy. It does. It's not like it's impossible. I'm not salty about doing it or anything, but it's just
there's almost a certain feeling too when you're driving on the way to do it. It's this is why I'm doing this.
Yep.
This is why I'm doing this.
Exactly. I know. Well, yeah, you know where your priorities are at. If I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't be driving down to go do it or anything.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a blessing and a curse. For
so
sure.
This band is called Personal Vendetta, right?
Yeah.
Have you heard of them?
I have heard the name.
It was a fun time.
Yep.
It was a fun time. Interesting story. Might as well talk about it. Why not?
Let's do it.
I have a story about a show in Ames.
Okay.
Okay. So here's what happens, okay? At some point, I hook up with this dude named Josh on Craigslist.
Yep.
I'm in this band Personal Vendetta with him.
Uh-huh.
I connect with the bass player of the band,
Yep.
and he hears the Bed Spins album,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'd be interested in helping you guys make this other new music."
Yep.
So he ends up being the third piece of Americature.
Yep. Okay.
And Personal Vendetta disbands.
Okay.
So, we were asked to play a show with our buddy Josh at a later date, and he's in these couple other bands or something. He's always doing something crazy.
Uh-huh.
He's just a crazy motherfucker, if you ever really meet him. And we're at this, it's like a train way station or some shit. It's abandoned, and they've made it this art thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're playing out back outside. Everything's cool. We're all just chilling.
Yeah.
At some point, and these are kids that, really, really get into it. They wear the studs and shit. This one kid's tattooed from his fucking head to his toes.
Yeah. Yep.
He's wearing a gag around his fucking neck.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, just all kinds of it. This dude has face paint on and shit.
Yeah.
These guys are just getting down, right?
Yep.
And they come out and they're playing this super sloppy, scummy, just punk.
Yep.
Doesn't sound good. It's just fun to stand there and be
I totally get it.
You know,
yeah.
be I don't know,
Yeah.
zoned in, like, okay, watch the spectacle, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. So, and we're standing around, and my buddy Riley Bird, standing next to each other, and the singer, he's like looking around for something, and we're like, what's going on? So he comes up, like, finally walks up to me and him, and he like kind of crouches down and has the mic in one hand, and with the other hand like is pointing, and he kind of like, you know, scoot apart, guys. So we move apart, and he grabs this like unopened box of like probably had to have been like 100 or 200 fucking thumbtacks, right? Fucking brings it out, and he just like hucks it all over the floor. And he just starts fucking throwing himself on the shit, dude.
Just
and he's
crappie flopping all over.
fucking rolling
Oh
around.
my
the
god.
thing. Everyone just starts, oh my god, they're all walking out, and I'm just laughing.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like, oh
like, what
my
do you-
god, you know,
What
like,
did you do?
what is happening right now? What in the fuck is happening? He's bleeding and shit, and I don't know. Eventually, it's all over.
Yep.
The music's over. People start walking back.
Okay.
And we're like, okay, it's time to leave. You know, a cop shows up, and he's like, so what's going on, guys? He's cool with everyone. He's like,
Yeah.
I heard that someone's like bleeding or something. Did someone get beat up?
Yeah.
And the kid's sitting over there
Yeah. How
in
does
a
that,
chair by himself, just like sitting there like this, fucking, it was me, you know.
it makes you wonder how that went over the police scanner. Like, who calls in what? Like, there's
Yeah,
a
who the
man
fuck did
bleeding.
that?
He's rolling in thumbtacks.
It-
It's on the south censor
It
side.
makes me wonder if like someone that was there was like called the cops or
Yeah,
something.
you
Like
never-
they worried about it.
I don't know.
I don't
man.
know
It's-
either.
It's nuts.
So we move forward anyway. We're Americature now, and now we just play our stuff.
Uh
We don't roll around on thumbtacks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize, but we do have a lot of fun. I don't know. We just play our shit. Most of it for us is about playing the music, like the live stuff. You gotta have live shows, like
Yeah.
and around here. You kind of figure out your limits. It's like, how far do you drive?
Exactly.
Who do you play with? What venues are even worth talking to?
Yeah. I mean, some of that's payout. Sometimes it's not worth the payout. Sometimes you're just like, I don't care if I get a payout. I'll play here anytime you want me to. You know, I mean, it depends on how far everyone's got to drive. It depends on, I mean,
Yeah.
like if it's local, it's not nearly as bad. But if everybody's got to drive 2 hours to a show, it's like, man, cut me some money and I can do it for sure. Otherwise, it's just you spend your whole afternoon, all your money. You don't make any gas money back. Even it's just tough.
From what I've gathered, like as far as Fort Dodge goes, one of the best places for an original band to play is Paddys Pub.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I played there last year with Three Finger Betty, and they were great to us. I mean, they were great to everybody that was there. It was one of those things where you're just like, wow, if every place could be this awesome to every musician, it would be sweet. But it was also, I mean, in the defense of everybody, it was Thanksgiving Eve, so the place
Yeah.
was mondo packed,
Yeah, dude.
hence the good
Yeah,
payout.
they have a lot of good times, dude. Like we played St. Patty's Day.
yeah,
We played Halloween.
sweet,
one
dude.
year,
Dude,
you
that
know.
would be legit.
Yeah, it is cool. The shitty thing for us is we only play for like 40 minutes.
Yeah,
We have a lot of music, but what happens is, you know, now we're to the point you got to learn some stuff. We don't mind doing some covers, and we're kind of looking at that avenue, but nothing like we do original covers.
yeah,
Like we won't play a song that sounds just like someone else. Like it's going to
Exactly.
be a totally different version.
yep.
So like we actually have a version of the safety dance.
Okay,
Okay. I will say we did used to cover a song, Bulls on Parade.
Yep.
We'd play pretty much just like Rage Against the Machine.
Yep.
There was no change there. But from what I've talked to these dudes about, there isn't any going. We're probably not going down that avenue
Yeah.
anymore.
It-
But
It's a little tough to take a song and gear change it and tweak it just enough where it's like, oh, this is that song. You know, it almost like you're listening to it, like you're standing in an elevator and you hear elevator music, and then you're just like, oh, I know this
Yeah.
song. It's
yeah,
like
that's the tune of
yeah,
something popular.
exactly. You know, so that's kind of what I dig on the cover songs. I mean, if you just straight up cover a song, it's cool, but sometimes it lacks the originality that you might be trying to put forth with a band that has a name on it. You know,
Right,
so
right. So what I've come to with it, I'm trying to get these dudes to do a like kind of shit rock 80s compilation of our own style, though.
Yeah,
Like, you know, a flow of generic ass songs,
Yeah,
you know, from
yeah,
back in the day.
yeah,
You know, just because. I don't know why.
Oh, I mean, you got to have that creative output somehow, and sometimes writing 100% all your own stuff isn't. It's not like it's not fulfilling, but sometimes it's fun to just tweak something someone else has. It's almost like taking a recipe you found online and making it your own, you know,
Right.
as opposed to just
Right.
trying to create something absolutely out of your own brain. It doesn't always, I don't know. Think of some random recipe like, oh, I'm going to make biscuits and gravy casserole or, you know, just something like, oh, is that a thing? Is it possible? You Google it and you're like, oh, there's a recipe. Let's do it. Whereas if you were trying to do it in your brain, you'd be like, wait, how in the heck do I do this? You know? So you might come up with something completely different than they come up with. I like to use analogies. I don't know if it's justified.
It is. It absolutely is. Because, like, especially, we're sitting here talking. No one can see us.
No
one knows what the hell we're doing. We
No.
could be doing anything in here as long as we could concentrate on what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know.
You got to put it out there for them.
Yeah. Is it weird to think?
Visualize.
Yeah, you got to visualize. Okay, so yeah, cover songs are just like biscuits and gravy casserole. If you
Just like it. Just like
it's literally the same thing.
if you're looking up the recipe.
It's in there. It's in there. So how many shows do you guys do a year? Do you think?
Oh, right now, not too many. I mean, it's one of those things like I can only probably play Fort Dodge like twice a year,
Yeah.
maybe a little more. Like I probably could.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of people here now where like, you know, you could do that,
Mhm.
but no one has a very good spot for it.
Yeah.
Like you could play a fucking, you know, guitar acoustically anywhere
Yep.
and charge someone to fucking have you play.
Yeah.
But for me to come into your small bar and absolutely destroy shit,
Yeah.
like not literally, but
Yeah. Oh,
play so fucking hard that people are just gonna be like, "Damn,
Yeah.
you got a problem,"
Yeah.
you know, and walk off. It's
Uh-huh.
like, you know, you don't even ask.
Dude, yeah, I feel you a little bit. I don't know if it's like self-consciousness or what it is, but like Three Finger Betty, we use a little profanity sometimes. We play some kind of like, I call it like face-melting punk. It's a lot of fast drum, fast guitar solos, but it's like punk at heart, kind of.
Sure.
So it's tough to describe, but it's not everybody's cup of tea, so sometimes I'm like worried going places. And that's where it comes back to like, we played a show at the Poorhouse in Humboldt on New Year's Eve, and I was just blown away. The building was just like packed front to back, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, it's not like, oh, they really like us, but it's kind of like, holy cow, everyone's not scared of this.
Yeah,
you know?
good crowd.
So you shouldn't always trust your instincts.
Yeah,
when it
you're
comes to
right.
that,
You're right.
you know?
I should probably reach out a little more.
Yeah, you never.
I probably should.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, it's like honestly, there's so much going on in general. It's like, it's really like a big job to really put yourself out there
Yeah.
to promote and find the places. Like I can name the places that I should be playing.
Yeah. Oh, it's
You know what I mean? But it's like
it's not always easy to get there. It's not always easy to have the constant contact with the right people to make that happen. You know. And,
yeah.
I mean, it's not easy. I you know, in Three Finger Betty, John does most of the booking, and I book a handful of shows here and there, but it's not easy, man. Like I've struck out at least as often as I've hit the ball, you know. So
some of them just like don't read the email or
Yeah.
something. It's like you got to just keep getting back a hold of them or
Yep.
something. Bug the fuckers, you know.
yeah,
But
sometimes you bug someone that you know plays there. I mean, like I've gone that route before, where it's just like, hey, I'm trying to play here, and I hit up the Facebook page and no one responded, and they're like, oh, get a hold of this guy and see what he thinks, you know. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, you know. It's also tough just to go by invite only, because sometimes people think you're not interested if you're only taking invites to shows, you know, like let's say you're like, oh, we'll take bookings, but it's only if someone contacts us, and then people don't know that, you know, you're willing to take more than you actually do.
like
so.
we are, but one thing we've done in the last few months is okay. The guy that used to play for the Bedspins used to play bass. Toby is playing guitar for us now, but he's playing baritone guitar.
Uh-huh.
And so we've been training him in the last like 2 months. And for us, it's more important to like sound good than sound right than to just go play.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
like, you know, we're adding him. We want to sound right when the time comes to play live,
Exactly.
you know. So that's what we've been doing, and we've been recording this stuff here that I'll show you here in a little bit. But,
Sweet.
The
Yeah, pretty
main thing
stoked.
for us is get get the recordings done, get something to show people.
Exactly.
Get something to show people. We don't have merchandise. I have a lot of ideas, good ideas and shit, but
Yep.
it's like, dude, I literally am helping like establish this whole business thing that we have going on. Like it's a family business. Like basically what happened is my dad took what was left in his savings and he sold my mom's car and bought our first truckload of the shit we sell now.
Oh, cool.
And that was like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Or so. And since then, it's just like it's went up and around and weird, but it's going well, and now it's leveled off. And we actually seemed okay last year, so now finally we've started another store in Des Moines.
Oh, cool.
So
what is it?
Harps Outlet is what we're called.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. You guys have like appliances and such.
Yep.
I totally been in there, and I was blown away. Like, do you care if we talk about it? Just a skosh?
Go ahead,
dude. So like the deal with me going in there was I go to Iowa Central, and not everybody at Iowa Central has tons of money, and sometimes that's why they're at Iowa Central. So somebody needed a washer and dryer, and we went there and bought one there because it was so much cheaper than everywhere else. And the whole deal with it was there was like some paint scratched off the front, and that's why it was cheaper. And everything works. It's worked for 2.5 years, and it still works. I mean, it's not like it's just like it was almost just like a scratch and dent was all it was.
Yeah,
and
that's most of what it is. It's gonna be like they made too many of them. If they make a New Year's model, if there's too many in the warehouse, or if it gets to someone's house, wrong one, they don't like it. There's a scratch. If there's too much damage on the box, these people, the stores can send them back to LG.
Yeah,
and there's basically. I don't want to get into the whole aspect of like the business aspect, but they come from all over the United States.
Yeah, man,
is my point. And so yeah,
that's really cool, dude. That's I didn't know that was you or your family and such. So that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, like to the very best of our knowledge, we were the first people in Iowa to do this.
That's cool.
Since then, there is a lot of people starting to do what we do.
Well, it totally makes sense.
It does. You can't blame them. You can't.
No, but it's such a good thing to have around though, because I mean, the one that we picked up was in like a scratch and dent pile, and it was like you had to look for where the paint was scratched off, and it's like if that's literally what's going to cause this thing to be discounted is literally just a scratch. And I'm gonna put, it's not like someone's not going to scratch this thing anyways.
It makes you wonder how long these companies have been doing stuff like this.
Yeah,
and it's like, what were they doing before?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe it says something about the wastefulness. Of like some
maybe
people,
they started to think about it. I don't know.
I don't know, man. It's. Because maybe they, hard telling.
I think a little bit of it's insurance on the big business aspect, because if you make so much and you claim so much and you whatever, that might be a little bit of
it.
But it seems to been going well, so we're gonna try to establish ourselves in Des Moines, and
cool. So you guys have been busy doing that, and that's been soaking up a lot of your time. Because actually, I hit you up quite a while ago about trying to get a podcast episode in, and you've been pretty busy.
Yeah,
so
dude, it was like at the beginning of December or like late November or middle of November when we like started getting the shop figured out.
Yeah,
that it was gonna for sure happen. So since then is when I've been really busy. Like before that, I wasn't that fucking busy.
Yeah.
But since then, I've been like working my ass off.
Yeah, dude, that's super cool to hear. I mean, it's also nice to hear that you got like one of those businesses family starts from the ground up, and it's
right.
It's such a cool thing.
Yeah, dude. We've got we've bought some vehicles and stuff like that, but aside from that, have not borrowed a single dime.
That's sweet, dude. Well, congratulations to all you guys on that. I'm glad we could like squeak a little time out to do a podcast episode. Like, super thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem. Very good to get together. Good to meet you.
Yeah, no kidding.
I can only imagine how it is to go to random places and meet random musicians if you don't know them, especially.
It's actually,
and interview them. I don't know.
It's kind of odd though. Like, I've done some with people I know, and because we've told each other the stories so many times, it's weird to like rehash a story we've already told each other.
Right.
And then this awesome what could be 20-minute story turns into a 3-minute story, and someone's like, yeah, I don't know, so we played the show, and I mean, it was cool, yeah, you were there, yeah, anyways, it was good. And it's like, well, that's not the story I remember how you told it to me. But, you know, it's also
like,
kind
I
of,
know you can tell that story better than that.
and it's also cool getting together with someone new, because I don't know literally almost anything about you other than the fact that you and I kind of like the same area of music.
It's real nice to be able to, like, just tell someone about, you know, this aspect of this kind of music that's happened around here.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's been some bands that come from Fort Dodge, like one that was kind of like us, and they used to be more like us than they are now, is like 22 Salute.
Yeah.
Like, we played with them back in the day when they were, like, called The League. This was when we were in high school. You know what I mean? Like, we all came up, like, at the same time, a lot of us. The drummer for Brutal Republic is my buddy Caleb.
Yep.
And he graduated a year under me. We all been playing. Like, dude, I was playing in a band with him and my buddy Jack, like, way back when we were real young.
Yeah.
So it's like we've all really got to know each other, and there's a lot of roots around the area, really. Yeah,
it's crazy. Like, I went to the Fort Dodge Jam Night at Paddys last, it was in December, and I was one of the house musicians there that night, so I played a little bit, and then everybody else hops up and plays, and when nobody's got anything to play, I hop back up there and play some more, you know. So it was like a really fun time. I never really had the confidence to do stuff like that until recently, and props to Jeremy Ober for inviting me to that. But you know, it was one of those things. I showed up there, and it's like, I didn't know there was 46 guitarists going to show up to this, or what, you know. It was there was like 18 people there that played guitar that got on stage. There was 4 drummers. There was 3 bassists. It was just like, this is nuts, you know.
Nice.
And
I haven't had the, you know, privilege of getting down there much. I don't go out much, to be honest, but I've only heard good things about the Thursday jam session.
Yeah, dude.
Third Thursday or something?
Third Thursday jam sessions at Paddys Pub in Fort Dodge. It's tons of fun. Like, I never thought too much to go to a jam session thing. I play in that punk band in Des Moines, Three Finger Betty. We usually like to end the sets with like a little jam session. We just kind of like goof off and get real nuts and start playing some like trippy jammy stuff and just get real crazy, like stomp on all your effects pedals and see what happens kind of stuff. And,
nice.
And after doing that a lot, it was just kind of like, you know, I can kind of do this if you just learn like the skeleton to most songs. You can jam out the rest of it and call it good enough. And and so I started doing that to handfuls of songs, and I went to one of the jams in Barnum that Clint Riedel does, and it was, I don't know, I was too shy to get up there until most people left, and then it's just like, all right, give me that guitar, I'll hop up there now, you know, now that there's only like 9 people in the building.
Right.
But yeah, it's tons of fun actually getting out and doing those things. It's crazy to see how many people are out there. I mean, as we're recording this, it would have been last night that I went to Bode to the Red Lantern. They had a jam night there, and I played a few songs and stuff. And I'll go to Iowa Central. I met a kid there that plays music, and I was like, hey, you want to go to this jam night? And we were like, yeah. So we show up, and someone says, hey, you guys want to play some songs? And it's like, can you play these songs? And he was just like, yeah, I think so. So we just like went up there, and we ended up playing Stranglehold and Voodoo Child and
nice.
Allman Brothers. And we just played a handful of songs a week.
That's cool, dude. Because like I mean, I could play stuff like that, but I just don't. And like, it's weird. I've had so little time like for really sitting alone with an instrument that anymore when we play or we write a new song, like what I do is like I get my lyrics together in my head and maybe on my phone, you know.
Yep.
And I know like the tune that I envision behind it, and I just come down and like the last 1 or 2 songs we did, like literally came down and decided to start playing guitar for it that day.
Oh man.
And so like, and it seems to work out.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not super complicated tunes. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing that I seriously need to sit down and fucking like go back over and over to learn. Like, I know what I want it to sound like. And so it's just like, that's how we've been rolling with it. Yeah. It's like striking when the iron's hot kind of deal. You know, when the inspiration's there, you go down and do it. You know, I do have like pretty much like a really simple version of recording stuff, and I have recorded a few things other than podcasts. It's not something I do too much of because I'm not confident enough in my songwriting ability to sit down and like record stuff and
show other people, even though I'm in a bunch of bands, I don't do a lot of the heavy legwork. I'm more like the accent piece around the, you know,
Sure.
I'm the parsley on the plate, I guess. You know,
Sure.
it's got to be there, but
Yeah, I don't know what the hell I am or what I do. You know, it ends up like
Yeah.
I write music, dude, and then like it's accumulation of years of shit, you know, and it's
Uh-huh.
like, you know, now I have this stuff, you know, you build up your recording stuff and like that's my drums, like this is all my stuff.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
and it's like, you know, eventually it ends up being like, dude, why would I pay any more to have someone else do my shit?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If I
Yeah.
have the tools.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, I don't know. Maybe one day when I don't have the time and I have the money.
I'm sure you're kind of like me, though. You, like, for the most part, go the used route, and you try and just, like, make every dollar count when you're going to do stuff like this.
Dude, like, those drums are so old, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
Those are from the year 2008, the gold ones.
Yep.
You know, you replace the heads and all that other stuff. It's a pearl set. But that bass, or that floor tom,
Yep.
is from, like, 1950 something. It's a pearl, old school Tiger Eye from a set. And I have, like, the bass drum.
That's
And,
nuts, dude.
The snare drum is like a 60 something. It says it on there. They're worth like a few $100s is the snare.
That's crazy.
We bought just honestly, dude, we bought like new cymbals just recently, the one, and then the hi-hat was like a special kind of hi-hat. And anymore, dude, I'm like, hell, like you gotta spend on some of this shit. Like
Cymbals are definitely one. You
Yeah.
gotta, because I'll tell you what, I bought a used drum set, and it's got some, like, Zildjian Ks, and there's also a couple of those, like, $190 3-pack Zildjian cymbals tossed in there, too. It's like nails on a chalkboard bad compared to the Zildjian Ks, you know? So
oh yeah.
the cheap ones
Yeah.
don't do you justice.
And really, like we're really aiming for recording and stuff, you know. Like it's been years. I got this amp, this Fender little bass amp, like 2 years ago, whatever. You
That
know,
rumble there?
I'm not sure.
If it is, I totally dig on those rumbles.
It's like one of the lightest little
yeah,
amps that you can
I
imagine.
bet it's the rumble.
It probably is.
I went online and read about that, and I think the deal with that was the original Fender Rumbles were like 80-some pounds. And
Really?
that's just like a 1x15.
and now they're like, check it out.
yeah, now it's like
Dude,
36.
Have you
pounds.
ever messed with one?
They sound so
have
good.
have you picked one up?
Yeah,
Okay,
they
good.
weigh like nothing. It's like, it's like
Yeah.
an empty suitcase.
Anyone who has not picked that thing up, they go to pick it up and
Yeah.
they're like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, my god!"
it's it's that old trick you have. Like, here, help me lift this. It's really heavy, and it's just an empty box. And they're like, bah!
What was it? Last year I bought that guitar and that amp. You know, so
Uh-huh.
it's like it's a yearly thing. I can't really, you know, all year buy new shit, but like that guitar, it was a pretty penny.
Yeah.
It was over, you know, $1,500.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
then-
I can
and-
totally see that.
And then that fucking amp was like a $400 amp.
Yeah,
which
man.
isn't super bad.
No,
with
it's
the
not
amp.
terrible. I mean, especially when you get some speakers with it and stuff. And amps are one of those things I feel like I don't know, you can get sucked into spending a lot of money on a very minute amount
Hell yeah.
of tone increase.
Yeah, dude. And then and shit just breaks.
Yeah.
You know, maintenance, like these 15-inch speakers, both the bottom ones on these PVs were blown out.
Uh-huh.
So we had to buy new ones for both of them.
Yeah.
You know, like otherwise they're fucking useless. I mean, like you can play out of them, but it's
Yeah.
like, dude, you're not gonna lug this damn thing somewhere for that.
Yeah,
You know, and
yeah,
that.
yeah, for one horn and 115.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the upkeep is another reason. I start to find out when I have too much gear, when you're like, I broke a string, and then I broke a string on another guitar, and then you like, I haven't played this one in a few months, and the strings are kind of junky, and then you're just like, man, I'm spending like $28 today just to restring some guitars, and I can't afford that kind
Yeah,
of
it's
crap anymore, you know,
ridiculous.
or even just like this one I want to put heavier strings on, and it's a Floyd Rose, so it needs a setup, and I don't want to spend an hour doing it, so you pay someone else to do it,
And you
it's
want
like,
it done right, too.
yeah, because I can do it, but it's not going to be 100% perfect. And, you know, like, it's one of those deals where if I'm going to pay someone, they're going to take the time to do it right, you know, and it's tough. I mean, I can do a lot of the stuff, but it's exactly like you said. You got to make sure it's done right. So, you do play drums, though.
Yeah. I mean, not like every day or every week or anything, but I mean, I can play bass, drums, guitar, sing.
Yep.
I can play I could play a piano if it was in front of me.
Uh-huh.
Shit like that.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool, man. I learned actually learned all my music theory on a piano, which is one of the reasons it took so long for me to like transfer all of that to a guitar because all the patterns my brain had laid out were piano-shaped patterns.
Sure.
And then when you're just like, okay, it's on 6 strings now, and every 5 frets it repeats, and if you go, and you're just trying to think about stuff, go down to the next string here, the octave would be there, and eventually it all just kind of became second nature to me, and now I don't know how I do it, because some people ask me, like, well, how do you know that you're doing that? I don't know, just, it's...
It's pretty natural, dude.
Yeah.
I feel like after a while,
Yeah.
you know, like...
And I'm not like a super shredder, but, yeah, it's...
Just playing normal, I mean, just kind of playing along with something.
Uh-huh.
Not that hard. After you pick up a guitar, you know, or a bass or whatever, and figure it out a little bit.
I mean, it's just learning a handful of chords. You can learn like most songs written before 1980.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, there's like 5 chords you could learn and play like 40% of the songs that were written. I mean, that's just a gross over exaggeration, but it's a generality that's almost true still.
Right.
You know, and that's nothing against the people that wrote songs back in the day, but it feels like it kind of depends on what avenue you want to take, because some people, like I know some people that can play all the open chords, they know all the shapes, and they don't know any of the names, or like, I don't know if this is a G or D minor, or I don't know, I just know that this is the shape that I saw on a tab once, and I play it when it's supposed to come up in this song, and it's like, how do you do that? Like, how do you memorize all these shapes in a pattern?
I don't know what it is. I played the bass cello from 5th to 8th grade.
Uh-huh.
I have no clue how to read music.
Yeah.
You know, I got by. I don't know how the fuck I got by.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Uh-huh.
you know, I mean, I did learn it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know it now.
Were you playing it for like lessons or church or school?
I was playing it for school.
Where, around here?
Yeah, in Fort Dodge. Mr. Ellerston, Jim Ellerston was the teacher.
Do you have like a symphony here? Like a kids symphony?
Just school. They used to do band and orchestra.
Oh,
the Fort Dodge like high school band
Yeah.
is actually pretty damn good. Like, they've been good for a long time.
Oh yeah, I just didn't realize you guys had an orchestra here.
Yeah, there used to be.
There's not one
I
anymore?
don't know. I think there is now, but it ain't nothing.
Dude, that'd be wild.
Even when I was young, there was like 5 people in
Oh, okay.
orchestra. It was
Okay.
like, yeah, no one thought it was cool. They
Yeah.
didn't teach guitar anymore.
Oh,
By the
man.
time I got to 5th grade, they didn't teach guitar.
Oh man.
So I had
Yeah.
to pick up the bass cello because it was the closest fucking thing I could learn to knowing the notes on a like stringed instrument, an
Yep.
electric stringed instrument.
Yep.
It's like, okay, get ready to play the bass guitar, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You know?
you got to start somewhere, and it's kind of
Yeah.
crazy that it gets you. It's like that's what got your foot in the door was like the cello, you know. And I mean,
Yeah.
did you play anything
That
before
was the
that?
first instrument I actually played. yeah.
Okay. Did you play any horned instruments or anything like that in band? Like
After like a year or 2 of orchestra, he tried to get me to do the tuba.
yeah,
I tried a little bit, you know,
Yeah,
whatever.
Yep.
Didn't continue.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Tuba's actually way tougher than
I
people.
probably could have, but I was ready to quit orchestra, already. So it was like, he's like, man, they're not gonna let us do orchestra anymore or something, dude. They've done some weird stuff. I don't know what the deal is, man.
Mhm.
I suggest that they do save the music, though.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? However the fuck that needs to happen.
Yeah, when I was
Hey.
in high school, they were talking about eliminating either chorus or band from our school. And they were like, we're getting rid of one of the teachers, and so we're either going to have time for one person to split it in half, or you're getting one or the other.
Ooh.
And so
Where was that at?
in Humboldt.
Ooh.
And so, like, 100 and some kids and all their parents went to the school council meeting, and it's like this room about this big, and we're like all out the door and like standing outside around and like looking through the windows and stuff.
Oh,
like,
wow.
like, no, you're not doing that. Sorry, like, cut something else. And they listened and they did, and it's. I mean, I don't know where they skimped some money out, but it was like, dude, if you're short on the budget, you can't cut this. So,
Oof. Well,
yeah.
that's good they kept it.
yeah,
Damn.
it was a tough situation, but it's also, I don't know, the band up there is pretty fun. Like, I had so much fun playing in the band. I wish I would have applied myself a lot better because, I mean,
Yeah. When you're a kid, you just have no clue.
no, I didn't have a frame of reference for anything, and it definitely showed, 15 years later. So it's almost embarrassing to talk about sometimes, but I'm sure anybody that's listening that knew me when I was younger is definitely like, check, you're correct, like, so, but yeah, I played trumpet a little bit. I don't know how I kind of got started playing guitar. I found one at my grandma's house and was just like, oh, let's see if we can figure this thing out, and you just, the internet's here. It's got to tell me how to do this, because the internet tells you how to do everything. And sure enough, I just kind of started like learning some songs. Believe it or not, I was really into Our Lady Peace for some reason, and started just hamming through some of their songs. And
it's weird what happened there after the year 2000.
yeah, I mean,
Just with music in general. There was a lot of rock still.
but the rock, I feel like, wasn't the same rock it was before.
No, everything became mainstream. Like every aspect of it started to get cheesy.
Yep.
I feel.
Yeah, it all became a a caricature of itself.
Yeah, a little bit.
I also like to think about things as in like the phases. Like the late '90s were so weird. Maybe because I was a kid growing up. I mean, I was young teenager when all this was happening, like a really really young teenager or a tween or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, like Howard Stern starts being on TV, and it's like what? And then there's like pro wrestling. Every chick has like double Fs, and it's like this doesn't make
a lot
any
of cultural changes.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
just everybody was oversexed on everything, and it's just monster trucks this and like
Wow.
explosions that, and I mean, I guess maybe everyone thought the world was gonna end in 2000. I don't know. Like I'm just like I'm in 6th grade and I'm learning how to multiply fractions.
I don't know what
blah,
the
blah.
deal was, dude. Like, there was a lot of hard asses, I feel, back in the day. I don't know. We're not kids now, so I don't
No.
know how kids are. I mean, I know because I have kids, and, like,
Yep.
you hear about the shit they do, but I don't know, man. The way that things used to be, so much different.
It's
the way that
different, yeah.
dudes would treat other dudes if they didn't like them, if you were a different guy,
Yep.
or whatever.
Yeah.
They're still hard, to get
Yep.
by, I'm sure, but,
Yeah.
like...
I totally get you, man. It's weird because I also feel like this is not to turn this into like a social commentary piece, but I feel like everyone's like as nice and as mean as they've ever been at the exact same time.
When? Right now?
Just
or
right
back
now,
in the-
just in general. Like everyone's like
Yeah.
so nice, but at the
super
same time,
sarcastic.
but at
and
the same
like,
time, they're like really mean about
really
everything.
dark about
Yeah.
it too. It's like, damn, you're acting so happy about something that's like what you're saying is like kind of fucked up. But...
Yeah. Or it's like, oh man, these guys are the best. They're so good, and they go away and they're like, dude, these guys totally suck. And it's like, wait, what? That's like you get the two-facedness of stuff.
Yeah,
sometimes.
very much so.
I mean,
Dude, they've made it so easy for people to be who they want, especially online.
yeah,
Like you can be whoever you want.
yeah, man.
You can be whoever you want online, and like you get together, and it's just a whole different story.
Yeah, and I try to remember that when I'm on Facebook. Like I have unfollowed several people that I'm really good friends with, just because it's like I don't want to see. Like I'm still friends with them on Facebook, but
Yeah.
sometimes they say things where it's like, dude, I don't think you realize the energy you're putting out
This
of here.
is public shit.
Yeah,
But it's like, dude.
and I just disagree with it. So it's like I don't want to hate you over some stuff you're putting on
Right.
Facebook. That doesn't make any sense.
Guys, you have no voice on Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook is not a real voice,
No.
everybody.
No,
it is a thing you type, you say what you think, and it's a place
Yeah.
really in your mind that you're putting this shit.
Yeah.
It's like that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get it. Like, I love the Facebook stuff. I love going online and seeing what people are up to. But sometimes
I like it
it's
too.
tough.
I don't really go online. Sorry if I'm interrupting
No,
you.
go for it.
Like I don't really get online, but I do like the whole like I don't know, the whole idea of it is cool. People just like I don't know if it's
the
probably not just
exhibition of it is not very awesome.
It's a competition out there
Yeah,
on that shit. And if we were all standing in the same room sometimes, you might not be so bold, or you might not be so unwilling
yeah,
too. Like
exactly.
People don't want to talk shit because it's on Facebook. They're gonna get talked or looked at differently.
Yeah, and it's one of those other things where you think you have somebody pegged based on what you see online, and then you go meet them, and you're like, dude, this person's a human being. They're totally nice. They're a great person or a great guy, great gal. It's just. I try my best to not judge people on what I see online. I try my best because
what I don't like is the whole group, like calling it on a group type shit, like where they can say this type of person does this. It's like
blanket.
if you actually look at someone and start to think or understand them or talk to them, figure it out. Not everyone is a certain way.
Yeah, things aren't as simple as they could be. Everyone's actually a lot more complex.
It's like to try to change as many minds as you can. You bring it to a wide range of people that it could be, and just be like, well, fuck all you people that might think this way.
and it is tough to like get online and kind of brag about what you're doing in a positive manner without coming across kind of douchey. And I don't know if it sound like totally asshole-ish about it, but like it's tough to go online and be like, dude, we're the best band in the world and we're coming to your town and we're gonna wreck it and stuff. You know, it's like people either aren't gonna believe it or gonna be like, dude, you're super conceited. You know, so
Right.
sometimes when I share the shows that I'm playing, I'm just like, you know, like I'm going to a place, you can be there too. And that's like all I share.
Like we'll be here tonight.
Yeah.
Type stuff.
Yes.
You know, not like everybody.
You gotta
this is
go.
This is gonna be the shit.
Yeah,
whatever.
don't miss it. It's the show of the
No
century.
one cares.
You know, like
no one cares. Whatever bar they're going to that night is where the whatever entertainment they find is gonna be.
Yeah,
you know, sometimes
I try to let the people that I know want to go. You know, like, oh, these guys like to go to shows, or they expressed interest, so you hit them up and you don't send them a text message or whatever. But it's I mean, like being online's not easy. It's weird to try to have a constant presence, and it's odd to not just like oversaturate.
So here's something funny.
Yeah,
I probably send out like 20 text messages to people, my friends, people I know in my phone about when I'm playing a show in Fort Dodge, where they live, or right by where they live.
Yeah,
right. Not only that, but you know, you got. We don't have barely any fucking likes on Facebook or whatever. I'd say it's like 60 some, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, no one lives around here anyway, but it's not like, you know, people might not have heard about it. So I'm not sure any of those people show up that I contact or that even see us on Facebook in Fort Dodge.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden it is actually a room of people.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Exactly.
No one I asked to come here is here, but there's still people here.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm just gonna roll with this.
Yeah,
you know?
Dude. And I dig on that because it comes back to live music being a really big thing again.
Yeah.
I never really thought I would get back into music as much as I did, but I get sucked in wholeheartedly. Like almost every genre, cover bands, jam nights, you know, metal, punk, playing in greasy bars, playing in awesome places that are literally just made to have concerts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all cool, man.
The dive bars are sometimes as fun as the bigger stuff. That's for sure. I've had plenty of fun in some shitty places. That's for sure.
Yeah, and like you mentioned earlier, playing in a basement. I've played in a handful of those, and those are surprisingly fun sometimes.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Oh yeah, they're fun.
So, I mean, it's kind of weird how it all came full circle, talking about social media and then coming back to why, you know, you got Americature and you guys don't have too much on there, and it almost doesn't matter because the people still come to the show even if they don't know. And
yeah, it's a very, I don't know, on the spot thing right now. That's for sure.
Well, I know you guys got the Facebook. Do you have anything else? I mean, you got like Bandcamp?
There is, I think, there's either, I think it's a Bandcamp. We have a Bandcamp. There's like a couple songs on there.
All right.
Americature Bandcamp or something or other.
All right.
Americature on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's like America plus caricature equals Americature.
Is that what you were going with for the name?
1 billion%, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So it's dude, yeah, I dig it. That's a really good name actually.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. Well, you're not the first person to, you know, like people assume that, but you gotta have to tell people a little bit.
Yeah,
they don't really know what you're getting at there a little bit. It's like, damn. So what do you do?
I mean, I'm in a band called Three Finger Betty, so I got to do the opposite. You got to coax them out of what they think.
Yeah,
it's like, no, dude, it's just a thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, then they're like, oh, your logo says differently, and it's like, well, just chill out a little bit, dude. You know,
there's no hiding Three Finger Betty.
Yeah, that's tough to.
Americature is kind of like in plain sight, but you're like,
Three Finger Betty. Like, do I want to Google that? Like, I don't know if I want to Google that.
Right.
Like,
you'll find more if you Google Three Finger Betty than if you Google Americature.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I'll at least put your Facebook in the description. I'll try to find out if you guys got a Bandcamp. If you know you do, you can shoot me a message.
Okay, I'm pretty sure we do. I just don't handle a lot of stuff online.
Yeah, I totally get it. But yeah, we're getting real close to the hour here, and I'm super glad I got to sit down and like meet you and talk to you.
For sure.
I mean, even after just knowing you literally for an hour, pretty cool guy, man.
Thank you.
I feel like we got
good talking.
Yeah, I feel like we got along pretty famously for an hour. So
yeah, dude, not a problem. It's been good chatting. I don't talk to a lot of people as far as this kind of stuff goes, podcast or online or anything.
Yeah,
so it's good to talk to someone in the community.
Yeah, man. I mean, we'll get this thing shared here pretty soon, and I'll give your give your stuff a listen here because we're going to check out some of the stuff you've recorded here. So appreciate it. We'll get your stuff in the description here, and thanks.
Thank you very much.
Hey, episode 20 is in the bank. That was a great one. It's probably one of the funnest things you can get to do is actually sit down with people that you don't actually know and just get to know them. I mean, I'm not necessarily one of the best conversationalists in the world, but I do like talking to people, and it's great to actually talk to somebody and get to know them. And big shout out to Jared for letting me squeak over to his place and do a podcast with him. He's a heck of a nice guy. He showed me some of that Americature stuff that they're getting recorded. It sounds fantastic. So if you have never heard of them, make it to one of their shows because they don't have a whole lot of stuff online. They do have a Facebook. They do have a Bandcamp, I believe. I'm going to search for it and put it in the descriptions if I can find it in the post-editing here. But it's super great. I love sitting down and talking to people that I don't ever usually get to talk to. I love meeting new people. I feel like I'm building a nice small community here of people that can get to know one another and hit each other up about shows. And I'm just going to keep doing this. Next week, I'm going to have another great podcast lined up. I've been super, super busy with school and interning and all sorts of other things. So I'm doing my best to get these out in a timely fashion, and I've yet to be late on one. So keep your fingers crossed. We'll look for you next week. I'm definitely going to be around. So thank you, everybody, for listening. I also got to give a big thanks to New Revolt Promotions. They are our sponsor for this podcast episode, and New Revolt Promotions' goal is to help young artists find an audience and become established in the local community by putting them on stage and helping them connect with other artists. New Revolt's next show is February 24th at Rats Records. That's in Des Moines. They're going to have 3 brand new local bands playing alongside the Astro Bastards at that show, so go check it out. I know the Astro Bastards are awesome. I always like new music, so you better go check that show out. It's going to be a great time. If you're looking to get on stage, you got a band, you want to hit up New Revolt Promotions, go to their Facebook page. I've got a link to that down in the description as well. If you're looking to play some shows, maybe you know somebody that wants to play some shows, just hit them up. You never know what's going to happen. They pretty much feature new bands as their mainstay. It's not just new bands, but that's what their forte. They love to try to get people that don't have the exposure to help them get the exposure that they deserve, and that's kind of what I'm doing here. So shout out to New Revolt Promotions for doing that. Hit up their Facebook page, give it a like. Go ahead, send them a message if you got a band and you want to do a show. They could do shows all over the place. They got a lot of shows coming up, so check out that February 24th show at Rats Records with the Astro Bastards. Send them an email, kobemurray@gmail.com. Once again, that's down in the description as well. And hey, you know what? If you can't make it to that February 24th show at Rats Records in Des Moines, maybe you want to venture up to Humboldt. Three Finger Betty's playing a show with the Astro Bastards at the Prowler in Humboldt, Iowa. And that show is actually coming up this Saturday. It will be February 2nd, I do believe. And that show's going to be off the hook. There's going to be a nacho bar at the bar. So I don't know who's headlining, whether or not it's going to be the Astro Bastards, Three Finger Betty, or that nacho bar. Man, when was the last time you played a show and there was a nacho bar there? I don't know. This is going to be sweet. I can't wait for this show. I'm stoked to get to play with the Astro Bastards again. They're always entertaining. You better check that show out if you're in my area. I know there's a lot of shows scheduled for that weekend in the area. Most of my musician friends are already busy, but I expect to see a bunch of my other friends out at the show if you're not at one of the other shows around the area. So check out those live shows. Check out New Revolt Promotions Facebook page. Definitely go check out all that Americature stuff. There's, like I said, there's a limited amount of it, but you can throw them a like on Facebook if nothing else. It'll do some good. You never know. I want to do a show with Americature eventually. Three Finger Betty's a little bit busy right now. We all have quite a few different things going on, but we are still taking bookings. So if you want to hit up Three Finger Betty for a booking, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, I will check you guys next week. Thank you very much for listening to episode 20. We'll see you next week with episode 21. Peace.